Okay, and we have two people in the waiting room. Let me let them in. Okay. All right, welcome to Monday Night Team Call. And this one is, I'd say, a little bit different than what you would normally find on the last day of the month. And I know a lot of us are following up with people, trying to close out the month strong. For those of you who have been in some of our chats, I know Amanda's chat and my chat, we have been doing a 30 messages by the 30th. I still have to finish mine tonight after I get off the Zoom. Mondays are crazy around here, but I'm going to get it done anyway. And one of the things that I've committed to do we committed to do was do voice messages, and we've got a lot of positive response from that. And we just took notes, did 10 a day. And I just wanted to, I've been reading a couple of different books, which I normally never read more than one book at a time, but they're on different topics, so it kind of helps balance it out, in my opinion. But our Jewel team, Amber Miller and Lori, they have been doing a Jewel Book Club book. And one of the topics really jumped out at me. And so tonight I see that very few of you have your camera on. Okay. But I am going to ask you to participate. So if you cannot have your camera on, I would really appreciate you guys participating in the chat as much as possible, because the whole point of this team call tonight is we're thinking about July. And that's the point of this call. And yes, we're finishing up tonight, but I'm talking about July and I'm talking about the rest of 2025. And that's the reason why I'm going to need a little bit of your participation. And I may call on you if you don't hear me, if you can't unmute, answer me in the chat if at all possible, because tonight's topic is going to be about hope. And reading this book, it was very impactful for me, and just listening to a lot of what was discussed at convention, and then listening to a lot of Brittany Howard's recordings on Patreon. Her one about focus is amazing. I'm planning on sending it to a few of you guys. I'm on my second time around on her focus one. But the word hope keeps coming to mind, and it really stood out to me. So I'm like, okay, hope brings to mind a lot of different things, especially for those of us who know the Lord and trust the Lord. There's a lot of that entails hope. But tonight we're only going to be talking about hope when it comes to our business. Obviously, that does not exclude the Lord, but we're talking more about practical business side of things. So we're going to ask ourselves a couple of questions, and I want you to participate. So, first of all, when I looked up the definition of hope, it really helped narrow it down for me. And it was the definition of a feeling of expectation, a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. And so, what I did was I just kind of went back in my mind to 2016 when I decided, after talking to my sponsor at the time, her name was Bethany. I talked to her multiple times about Plexus, asked her several different questions, and I remember the night I decided I was going to buy Plexus. And I remember giving her my credit card information. I mean, like, I maxed out my credit card to be able to get it because we had medical debt because of all my health issues. And I remember giving her the credit card information, buying it, and I remember the hope that I felt. And so I want you to think back to that time when you decided that you were going to try Plexus. And I want you to think about what it is that you were hoping for. Okay. What was it that you were hoping for when you gave that credit card information, or you opened that cart, or for those of us who did it back then, it was like on a wing and a prayer in our back office, hoping it would go through. Um, what was it that you were hoping for? And I really want you to think about that. Sherry put that help for her daughter's autoimmune disease. So Sherry's hope at that point was strictly in thinking about her daughter. Who else? If you can put it in the chat, Sarah, Valerie, if y'all want to unmute and share, what was the hope? What was the expectation that you had when you decided to purchase?
I think for
Basically,
me,
just hoping it would help. I can't see anything but my face and Julie, so if somebody unmuted, I have no idea.
No, go ahead, Valerie.
And I was just saying that for me, it was just a little bit of hope that maybe, just maybe, this might be something that could actually change everything.
Okay. Sarah, what about you?
I think for me too was a couple different things. I think for probably the first thing was more of my health, where I was at in that state at that time of my life 4 years ago was pretty rough, as far as a lot of anxiety, a lot of issues. I had always had stomach trouble, so I wasn't really for sure if it would work for that, but found out pretty quickly that it did. So that was really good. And then just having something like that I knew I could have an income for, to help out with that
Oh
and
no,
taking.
don't get ahead of me. Not yet. Hold that thought.
Okay, but
Only
for
why
health
you bought the
reasons,
products. Just
yeah.
bought the products.
Sorry.
So Kristen said, just hoping I would feel better inside. Okay. Anybody else want to unmute and share or put in the chat before we move on? I'll share mine. Only reason why I decided to last ditch effort was to see if I could stay off of prescription medications for my autoimmune disease. If I could go a day with not feeling so much pain that I felt like I was losing my mind. That was like my only hope, my only expectation was maybe this will be it. Benita said that hers was just a desire to be in the best health possible. Brent said personal health. And I want us to remember that. And then the question is, has Plexus at least met those basic expectations? Have the products improved your health? Have they helped? Have they improved your health? Have they improved your quality of life? And the reason why is sometimes I feel like our hope gets based on our current circumstances, and we have the worst memory on the planet, and we forget how many of those expectations have been met, that we just had that little sliver of hope. Well, I'm just gonna try. We'll see. And here we are with so much improvement, and we may not be where we want to be, but we have so much improvement that our hope is now like, oh, it's just not enough. Y'all, when I think back to that, I was a wreck. I mean, I was a complete wreck health-wise, and you might not have been a complete wreck health-wise, but your hope might have been for Bonita, she want to be in the best health possible because now she has grandbabies. I mean, that's why I'm out there killing myself, you know, killing myself every day is because I want to be the 70-year-old that can get up and down off the floor and not moan and grunt and feel like I'm going to die. Like, I want to be strong. And so, first of all, let's go back to that. Did the products meet your expectations? Did they improve your quality of life? Did they improve your health? Did they improve your daughter's health? Did they improve your overall health? Wherever that was, do you feel better than before you started? I'm 100% yes. Okay. All right. Now, when you first started sharing Plexus, what were you hoping for? When you are like, okay, I'm going to tell that first person about Plexus, whether it's your mom, your sister, your neighbor, your best friend, I want you guys to share that with us now. What was your expectation? What were you hoping for? What were you hoping for? I was like, I had to like work up all this courage. And that might not have been you. You might have been like Valerie or Sarah, who's like, I'll shout it from the rooftops. I don't care. Okay, so Benita says her expectation was like, I'm hoping I can get my products paid for. That was that was my first one, but like the one that I verbalized out loud for me was if I could pay for my products and pay for my $350 car payment. That was like my big wish upon a star, which would have been at the time about $500 a month. If I could have done $500 a month, that would have been like, for me, I'm like, that's like, oh my goodness. Talk about, exceeding my expectations. Like that was my big thing. So what was it for you guys?
It was
Valerie,
the
since you can't see
same.
anything, you start.
It was the same for me. I just wanted to get my stuff paid for because I was seeing all the benefits for me. And I knew the kids could benefit and Brent would benefit as well. So I put them on the product. So I needed to pay for more than just mine. I needed to really a good 750 or so at least a month. And so my goal was to at least try to pay for part of that, and where it wasn't all coming out of the budget. So that was my first goal.
Awesome.
I'm going
Who's
to
next?
unmute because for some reason my chat says it'll only go to Brent Stansel now. I don't know why that is. Um, but anyway, my goal was to get it paid for because I knew when I started out that I couldn't afford it. And Valerie was so convincing, like, you guys came to my house from Florida, but just like cheering me on, you guys, that I could do it, and had a house full. And I was excited for my mom to try it. She had some health problems and the others, but yeah, basically to get it paid for.
Get your products paid for. Awesome. Michelle says same for her, especially when her daughter and husband started on them too. 100%. To tell others about how I feel was feeling doing them and then to get others doing them. Yep. What about you, Sarah? What was your hope? What was your hope or your expectation?
I think for me it was same as everybody, getting products paid for sure, because I knew we wouldn't be able to do it in a sense every month without that. So that was probably my biggest thing. And then just, yeah, being able to cover for things that I had had before and didn't have, so it was nice.
100%. Amanda says to get her products paid for and maybe have a little extra money to spend on Amazon. We love that Amazon spending money. I'm a TJ Maxx girl, so I want the extra money to spend on TJ Maxx. Okay, so now that we've shared those things, okay, as far as your business goes, has that hope, those expectations been fulfilled? Have you been able to pay for your products?
Yes.
Then the question is, have you been able to pay for things more than your products? So that hope has been fulfilled. And a lot of times when things aren't going in the direction that we want them to go, the first thing that we say, something's wrong, right? Which obviously we need to adjust and make adjustments. But this is the thing that I'm wanting to bring our focus back to is if your journey with Plexus has surpassed those expectations, that hope that you had that caused you to give the credit card to purchase, expectations were met and surpassed. For me, anyway, way better, way more effect on my body than I thought it was going to have. Okay. Your expectations for your business. I hope I can get my products paid for. I hope I can get my nails done. I hope I can spend on Amazon. Whatever that hope was, if you've been able to do that and that hope has been met and surpassed with regard to the business, okay, where's your hope now? Okay, that's the thing is that a lot of times when we have reached and surpassed our initial hope and expectations, we just expect things to just automatically get better because that hope and expectation was met. But the thing is what are you basing that hope and expectation on? Okay. I hope that to be sapphire one day. But if I want that dream, that milestone to be able to be achieved, my hope cannot be based upon my feelings. Okay. When we first started Plexus, a lot of it, now when I gave that credit card, was that based 100% on feeling? No. She told me a bunch about gut health. I knew that it was natural. I saw that it worked for somebody else. There was proof. Okay, here's my credit card. When I started sharing the products, right? I didn't just do that based upon a feeling. It was, I need these products. I can't continue to pay for them by myself. So it's just facts. I need to do this. So I start sharing. Okay. And so then we get into the business and we see all these victories and all these wonderful things happen. And then challenges come. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, man, I guess this business just doesn't work after all. I guess, maybe the compensation plan should change, or maybe my upline should do better trainings, or maybe corporate should. No. What are you basing that hope on? Because if you truly want to have hope in your next level of goals and your next level of expectations for your business, your hope should not be based on feeling. Your hope should be based upon the work that you're willing to do and that you are doing. That's what the hope is based on. The hope should be based on action. Because if it's based on feeling, you're going to be riding a roller coaster every other day. You're going to be like, oh, well, today I have hope. Yoo-hoo. I signed up a customer. My hope is restored. And then that customer a week later tells you that it doesn't work and gets a return. I have no hope in the business at all. Cue depression. No, the business still works. That person just wasn't ready. Okay. So what is it that what is it that you're hoping in right now? Because I believe, just like in my Christian life, I don't hope I'm going to heaven. My hope is in the Lord. You guys know what I'm saying? Like that's the closest thing. Like he did the work for me, but I have to do the work for me in Plexus, okay? Like my hope has got to be based upon what I am doing daily to build my business. Now you're like, Julie, I've heard this 100 times. I know I have to do IPA sheet. No, that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there is not one person on this call who has not built their business based on connections. I know every single one of you. Now, we may not be like this, but I know, have met, spent time with every single one of you, and every single one of you knows how to make connections with people. Do not deceive yourself into thinking that you can build your business with a checklist, I copied and pasted messages, because we're beyond that in our industry. So just like Eric Worre was talking about in the sense of why not become a professional? Okay, when we first started sharing Plexus to get our products paid for, that's a hobby goal for most people when it comes to the income side potential for Plexus. How about a professional income? So if you're wanting a professional income, then you've got to work like a professional. Now, does that mean 40 to 80 hours a week? No, but it means doing the things that are uncomfortable, doing the things that are monotonous, building those connections with people so that you can provide a solution for the problems that they are currently experiencing. I have found in the last 2 days sending these voice messages, I sent one to a girl, I actually led her to the Lord at a teen camp. She was a pastor's daughter, came from a different church, hung out with our church, ended up leading her to the Lord. And she is an entrepreneur. And it's like, how did I not think to reach out to her before? Like, her and her husband own their own gym. She played like semi-professional basketball. She's like 6'1" athlete. And I mean, she has a great social media presence. She does digital marketing stuff. And I'm like, so I reached out to her and I was like, you are an entrepreneur already. You are already doing the hard things of taking care of your body and being disciplined. And I would love to talk to you about this opportunity if you're open to it. And she said yes. But the cool thing was she automatically gave me her objection. She's like, I just can't picture adding anything else to my plate, but I'm open to the conversation. So, hey, I'm shouting hallelujah. But do you know that if I had not forced myself to be in an uncomfortable position to make a list of 45 people to send personalized voice messages to, it took me an hour and a half to send those messages on Sunday night because I was personalizing them, going to their profiles, looking what's going on in their life, talking about things that we've connected over before, and trying to sound as natural as possible. And y'all, they work. I got a lot of good feedback, a lot of responses. Even if they were no's, at least that they're responding to me and telling me why it was a no. Everyone on this call knows how to make connections. Okay. Do not get wrapped up in the IPA sheets of checking off a box and saying that you sent a message, because that's not even who you are as an individual. It's definitely not who we are as a Plexus community. We are genuine, we are real people, and copy and paste messages are not working because it does not demonstrate who you are. It does not allow for a connection. Okay. I'm just so passionate about this since convention, confirming what I've already felt like in my mind, and in my heart, because I was doing it. I did the sheets. Yeah, it didn't work. Okay, so it's time to go back to when I first started building my business, when it was a connection time. So like I have a in-person luncheon that I'm going to go to with a friend of mine who we mentioned Plexus before. I reached out to her. She's going on vacation, but we're going to come and meet in person and talk Plexus. She has a lot of influence, and it took a lot of guts for me to reach out to her. But guess what? When I did it in a genuine way, with a voice message, she responded and said, yes, I really want to talk in person because I have so many questions. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Okay, so that is what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. I hope that that resonated with you as much as it did with me, because of the fact of a lot of us are wishing upon a star with rainbows and unicorns, expecting somebody to come in and save us. I just need that one person. Well, you're never going to connect with that kind of one person if you're not connecting with people. If you're not letting them see who you are. Now, does that mean you're BFFs with them? Absolutely not. You don't have to be BFF. You just need to connect with him. Oh, yes, you have a problem. I have a solution. What are your thoughts? And the really cool thing is we have a plan. Amanda came up and found this amazing plan that we're going to do starting off the month of July. Very focused, very focused. Um, what's the best way to describe that? Very focused, intentional work that would definitely continue to move the needle for us going into July, because we're all going to be icons, y'all. Okay, we're all going to be icons. Plexus Corporate has gotten their act together on so many levels, between the meetings, between the back office, between Eric Worre and his trainings that he's going to do. There is no reason why our business should not grow if we are making connections. Okay. I hope that that was encouraging to you, gives you something to think about. What are you basing your hope for your business and your business growth upon? If it's on rainbows and unicorns, it isn't going to work. But if it is doing the 20% uncomfortable work of making connections, then it is going to work. Amanda, I saw you turn on your camera. So do you have something to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been doing the voice messages too, because when we started this 30 by 30 challenge, I was like, I need to one up kind of for my team as a leader, step up and do something more uncomfortable than just sending messages. I mean, because don't get me wrong, sending messages as a text, it used to be uncomfortable for me, but now I've gotten really comfortable with that. So, like you said, the voice messages were more work, but I think the response rate has been so much better as a whole because you can't copy and paste that voice message. So they know that you're taking the time, like you're standing above other people that are asking them to look at their product or their opportunity. It's like you're raising the bar. You know what I'm saying? So I just had that thought when you were sharing that I think that's one of the big reasons is just that they know it's not copy and paste. And like even one of my people that said no, she was like, thank you though so much for voice messaging me. And then I was able to, and it was a similar objection to what you said about, got too much on your plate kind of deal. But, yeah, I'm like, why hadn't I been doing this all along? And now I got to take it a step further, because you want to slip back into the easy responding in text. And I'm like, no, you're going to respond in a voice message, so
There
like
you
just keep it
go.
up.
And
That's
see,
all I have.
well, thank you for sharing that because Amanda is an introvert by nature. So for our introverts on here, she's a great example of putting herself out there and it really making an impact. And I don't know if you've been in this position of like where, yes, I want to grow my business, but I don't want to be super uncomfortable, but I also need to be able to say that I'm working it. And so I'll go and I'll copy and paste a message and say that I messaged 10 people to make myself feel better. But ultimately, I know I'm not connecting with people. And that is how we build our business. It just is. I mean, period. And so if you are not connecting, it is better to connect with 3 people than to send out 20 messages a day. Like I can't emphasize that enough. Okay. It really, really is. And the really cool thing is that I feel like in the voice message part of it, I would avoid it just because it's harder. It makes me feel more vulnerable. But at the same time, it works. I mean, that's just how I grew my business. It is. And this book that I'm reading talks about the fact of we are no longer able to grow our business just from Facebook friends like we used to. That time has shifted. We have to connect with people and we have to use multiple mediums to get there. Okay? So, adapt. Let's adapt together. Let's be uncomfortable together. Let's do that action. If, I mean, like, y'all, a lot of you were at convention. Y'all saw there's some people that are super awkward that are very successful. And the reason why is because those people are willing to do the things that nobody else wants to do. So, um, I am going to I'm going to stop the recording if no one else has anything, and I wanted to ask one question before you guys hop off. Okay.